take projection.
Well, welcome everybody to Taking On Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you doing, man?
I am pretty good. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm all right. It's that muggy, hot time of year here in Birmingham. So,
Man, it's this way here too.
yeah, man.
Like people don't think about like the Midwest, Nebraska being like super muggy, but this time of the year, or at least a couple weeks, because
Just super. Yeah.
yeah,
It's weird. You know, we've actually had a fairly pleasant summer for the most part. Like it's been hot, but we haven't
yeah,
had these days where you're just outside and it's just like, ugh, just like wrapping you up.
yeah.
You know. Uh, Yeah, and that's just we walked the dog the other night, man, and it was just like, man, this is ridiculous. Even she, is like taking
Right.
shorter walks. She's like, man, it's too hot. Let's
Just ready to go home.
she like does like short. We'll get to a place we usually like turn into one neighborhood, and she turns back to her home. She's like, no, we good. I got it.
Right, you know it's hot when your dog wants to go home.
I know, right? Yeah, 'cause she would just walk forever. I'm convinced if you let her. She'd just stop to eat and sleep, but she'd always be like, no, we can just keep going.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we are back. What is this, 4 of our college football
Yeah,
preview. It is Big 12 week. And I'll tell you what, Greg, when I was doing all my little research and stuff and deciding who to put in what tier, I don't know how you can't just put the whole Big 12 into the wild card tier, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw it last year where, I think Arizona State was picked like, 12th or something in the league and won it. And the teams like, Kansas State, Arizona teams, Utah teams people thought would, be the front runners. They all kind of had down seasons. Kansas State was, okay, but, Utah, Arizona had really bad seasons. It's just
Arizona,
crazy.
Oklahoma State had a lot of hype last
Oh,
year,
yeah.
and they were
Oklahoma State
terrible.
was picked to win the league, I think. And they didn't even win a league game, did they? They went winless in the Big 12.
They were horrible,
Yeah, it's
surprisingly.
terrible. So much
And,
so that
we
the
had
Big
like
12 actually,
BYU.
yeah. So much so the Big 12 even got rid of their preseason predictions this year. No
Yeah.
no coaches vote or whatever they do for them. So there are no front runners, no teams predicted this year, at least from inside the Big 12. But so what I did, in the spirit of that, is I have a couple groups, and what I have first is face cards. So these are your Jack, Queen, King, Ace. To me, these are the teams that probably, if you get a face card, you're playing poker, you get a face card, or blackjack, whatever.
Yeah.
You have a higher chance of winning than you would with a lower
Right.
card, right? So that's where we're
Yeah.
coming from with these teams. They're still wild cards. Still, who the hell knows? It's the Big 12. Nobody knows. Anybody who pretends they do is joking. You don't know what's going to happen in the Big 12. So any of these teams we're going to talk about here in this face card group, if if you put money on them, or if you're a fan of them, you probably at least you have a good chance to win the league. I think.
Right.
We'll see what happens with that. Once we get into the year. But for those teams, I have defending champs Arizona State, Kansas State, because I think they'll bounce back. I have, let's see, Texas Tech because of all the money they spent.
Right.
And then that's where I start getting like, I don't know. I think I'm going to put Baylor in that category. Maybe a little bounce back year for them. I'm going to put Utah in that category. Again, bounce back candidate. And then the two teams that I'm not sure if they belong in this category, maybe one lower, are TCU and BYU. You think they belong to face cards?
I like TCU this year.
Okay. We'll talk about it
I
on
like
this, yeah.
I like y'all. Yeah, we'll talk about it. I mean, you could put them in either one, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're an ace or a king. I mean, And
Yeah.
either way, I mean, I don't think it's a really a wrong, excuse me, wrong place you could put them, but
Yeah. All
I
right.
like them this year.
All right. So we'll start with those six: Arizona State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Baylor, Utah, TCU. These would be our face cards. The teams that now, granted, Big 12 again, they could go, they could pull a last year in Oklahoma State, and they could all go
Yeah,
1-11 or whatever.
absolutely.
It's definitely not out of the realm possibility, but they also very good chance to win. So let's start with the defending champs, Arizona State. Of course, no Cam Scatabo this year. It's a big loss for them,
Right.
but still, what was the quarterback's name? Levitt, right? Still good young quarterback. Well coached team. We know that with Kenny Dillingham, they fight for that guy. He's one of those run through a brick wall type coaches.
Absolutely.
Sam Levitt, quarterback, coming back. They have 17 starters coming back overall. A lot of defense, 9 on defense. So and that's pretty great for a team if you're the defending league champs.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
On top of that, I
how do you
mean,
like the Sun Devils' chances this year?
well, I think the biggest difference, of course, now we have expectations for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last year they were not supposed to do anything, and they well overachieved there. I mean, Cam Scattaboo became a legend, more or less a household name, a fan favorite
I'm about to
with
say
the
like
way he
a
played,
folk hero almost.
pretty much. I mean, but now, it, now the interesting part. Now that we know who they are, can they do it again?
Yeah.
Now it becomes interesting because it's sometimes easy when there's no expectations. You have no pressure on you, but now there's expectations, maybe a little bit of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they have a coach that knows how to deal with pressure. I think he's a no nonsense, passionate guy. I mean, he's not gonna I don't think he's gonna let people overlook things or not take things as seriously this year. So I think they're gonna be good. It's always good when you have a quarterback with experience. Sam Levitt back again. They do have one of the better wide receivers in the country. Who honestly he missed the Big 12 title game and the game against Texas. So that's so we forget about that. You know, defense was solid at times there. But we know that they can in situations. So yeah, I mean they're definitely. I think they're in position going into the season. Sure, like, yeah, they're definitely a contender going into the season based on what they did this year, what they have coming back. Main thing though is just we'll find out quickly just how you replace Cam Scatterboo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's really not possible, but you know, what changes you make your offense because that was a big part of their offense last year. And what changes do you make, like to alleviate that change? Because that's a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. To replace Scadaboo, they brought in Kanye Udo Jr. Or sorry, he's a junior. He came from Army, rushed for over 1,000 yards last year at Army. Kind of similar to Scadabo, and he seeks out contact. He wants he wants to punish some guys trying to
Right.
tackle him. So should fit right into that offense. You
Sure.
mentioned Jordan Tyson's a receiver, leading receiver. He's back, so that's great for Sam Levitt to get your leading receiver back. And he had a really good freshman year last year too. 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, only 6 picks. So he should only get better. It's his team that confidence is they now come in confident. Where last
Right.
year they gained it as the season went on. They kept beating teams. Well, now they're a big boy, and like you said, it's about managing expectations and seeing
Yep.
how they respond to them. The schedule's it's tough. Not gonna lie. They're out of conference is kind of easy. They get Northern Arizona at Mississippi State and then Texas State, so that should be 3 wins right there.
Should
They
be.
beat both Mississippi State and Texas State last year. Close ones, but they beat them.
Texas State game was a crazy. That was a
Hmm.
excellent game.
Yeah,
Was it a Thursday night? I think, but it came down to the
I can't remember, but it definitely was a 30 as a field goal win for The Sun Devils
Yeah,
is definitely they kept coming back in that game. They were down
yeah.
14-7, then 21-7, 28-21. They finally
Yeah, because the wild part,
won.
I was like, even though I know Arizona State's not as big, as some program, I was
Mhm.
like, that's wild that they went to Texas State. They
Yeah, right.
went to San
Crazy.
Marcos. So,
But that Big 12 schedule is where it gets tricky for them this year.
mhm.
It goes at Baylor, TCU, at Utah, Texas Tech, Houston, at Iowa State, West Virginia, at Colorado, and then Arizona on the Friday after Thanksgiving in the year. Those are some pretty tough road games right there.
It
We mentioned, I mean, that's Baylor, Utah, Iowa. So, Iowa State, I'm going to add into this tier too.
is.
Always, you got to respect the Cyclones always. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's four contenders right there, and then you still have to play TCU and Texas Tech. You rival Arizona, rivalry game. Who the hell knows what's going on there?
Well,
So they'll have to earn it this year for sure.
yeah.
But I don't really see a reason why they won't be in the mix. Uh, Come November, come the end of the season, why they won't be in the mix
Right.
for
I mean, they'll definitely be in the mix, you would think.
conference title. Let's
And I
move
do like
on.
that they
Oh, go ahead.
get a. No, sorry. One other thing. I mean, I like that they get some of the big games at home. I mean, they get TCU at home,
Hmm.
um, Texas Tech at home. I mean, that helps out tremendously. Um, but yeah, I mean, some tough road games too. I mean, going to Iowa State in November, that's always
Ooh, yeah.
on weather. Who knows? It
Yeah,
could be a little
especially when you're a
chilly there.
warm weather team like them. Yeah,
Yeah,
going up there in that
be a chill
cold.
one. Yeah, the Arizona game at the end of the season, because who knows? Like you said, you're looking for Arizona to bounce back a little bit from last year. I mean, and then yeah, but they're kind of like some other teams we talked about. If they're not in the mix, then something really went wrong that we're not seeing right now.
Hmm.
On paper, they show all the signs of being a contender, both for the Big 12 and, as long as they win the Big 12, of course, an automatic qualifier there. Um,
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I got on them. Let's move on to Kansas State. Another team. We say they had a down year last year. They went 9-4, which is kind of right around where they always
right,
are. But all four of those
right.
losses were in conference, and that's where is a little
That's
surprising.
what I heard.
Particularly, they collapsed down the stretch. They lost three of their last four.
Yeah,
A surprising loss at Houston. Then got lost to Arizona State, and then lost Farmageddon at the end of the season to Iowa State. Um, so they were right in that Big 12 title
yeah.
mix, and then just fell off, which is very uncharacteristic of this team program. Chris
Mhm.
Kleiman, well coached team. Um, and they're back. They get not a lot, only 10 returning starters, but one of them is Avery Johnson at quarterback, so
Yeah.
that's pretty big.
Very super electric. Like,
Yeah, electric guy. Erratic. He can be erratic at times.
yeah.
He had games where he really showed out, and then he had games where he threw like three or four
Mhm.
picks too. So
Right.
it's tough, but yeah, you got a guy like that taking snaps, then you're always a contender. They of
Right.
course start the
Absolutely.
year with Farmageddon in Ireland at week 0
In Ireland. Right.
next week, in fact. So it's that'll be an interesting way to start their season, and then they come back home and host North Dakota.
Yeah.
Not North Dakota State, important distinction, but still get Army. And then their Big 12 schedule is also a little. I mean, it's the Big 12. All these schedules are going to be who the hell knows. But
Yeah.
uh, you
So
got road games at Arizona, Baylor, Kansas, Okie State, and Utah. And then their home slate is UCF, TCU, Texas Tech, and Colorado. So yeah, those are again some couple maybe tricky home games in there. Like we
mhm.
said, we just don't know where Utah or Oklahoma State will be this year.
Right.
I think a lot of people are expecting a Baylor bounce back year. So you catch Arizona early in the season, maybe that's good for them.
Right.
But it's Kansas State. More than likely, they're going to be in a conversation at least at the start of
You would
November.
think so. You would think so. Um, yeah, I mean but that's big for the Big 12, though. I mean, you get. I mean, all eyes will be on that game because, of course, week zero. I mean, we have football, but that, of course, that's the biggest game. Excuse me. Not only is it a Big 12 game for both teams, so I mean that's huge. I mean, showing up for the conference game is always a tricky way to start the season.
Hmm.
But both teams are ranked going into that game, so it's not just just a
Yeah,
whole
it's
game.
huge. Yeah,
We all ranked two ranked teams. That's it's a huge matchup.
yeah, kind of crazy. In fact, but a week zero game that's getting a little hype. It's kind of we've seen some exciting things go down. Like last year, the
Right.
Georgia Tech upset over Florida State, but no one expected anything from that game
Right.
beforehand.
Right.
But yeah. Let's move on to who I got next. Texas Tech, a team that certainly is giving it their all. They pushed their chips all in on the table, spent a
Mhm.
whole bunch of NIL money to get in a great transfer
Mhm.
class. If you count the transfers starting last year at their old schools, they returned 21 starters. Uh, that's huge. They get Morton back at quarterback last year. He was their um, leading passer last year, over 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns. They get a couple of their running backs back. Not Taj Brooks is gone, of course. They lose Josh Kelly, their leading receiver, but they got their second and third, a couple more receivers. So they get a lot of talent coming back, a lot of talent coming in.
Mhm.
Joey McGuire, in his fourth year here, he's gone 8-5, 76, 8-5. So I think Texas Tech, they're just looking to get over that hump. A 10-win
Right.
season, maybe a little bit closer in terms of conference chasing that title. Finished
Yeah.
strong last year, won 3 of their last 4. The only loss being a home loss to Colorado, but went into Ames, beat Iowa State. So
Mhm.
it's definitely going to be there for them. Out of conference schedule isn't too tough for them.
No, it's
Arkansas,
not.
Pine Bluff, Kent State, Oregon State, all at home.
They
As far as
should. They should be going 3-0 into that.
Utah game,
The
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no excuse for them to not be 3-0
not be
going in
three
that
and
game.
oh. Absolutely.
And then the other Big 12 schedule, their road games at Utah, Houston, Arizona State, Kansas State, West Virginia. That's tricky. That's not an easy road schedule at all.
No.
And then your home games are Kansas, Oklahoma State, BYU, and UCF. So, um, yeah, uh, they definitely have brought in the talent to do it. They're a well coached team. There's
Yeah.
obviously motivated with a great fan base there, but they need to get over that schedule and just kind of
Win.
they just got to win and to kind of get over that Texas Tech. I don't want to call it a curse or anything, but it's just kind of they're one of those programs that are always kind of right there 8-4
They're
type
yeah.
team.
I mean, yeah. They've always kind of been that team. Kind of yeah. Like you said, the 8-4. For when there's 11 games, they were 7-4, 8-3. Sometimes they of course we know. Oh wait, they had the magical year with Michael Crabtree, but
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, a very solid program over the history. Very few losing seasons overall. But yeah, it's just about getting over that hump, like you said. But I mean, they poured into the program like no other.
Mm-hmm.
We saw what that did for their women's softball. So it'd be interesting to see if that translates to the football field as well. Of course, a little different in football because, of course, everybody has to mesh
Mm-hmm.
and be on the same page there. I think McGuire is a good coach there. He's well versed in Texas football, having been in high school. With that NIL money, that helps. With that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's been kind of the darlings of the off season. I mean, everybody's been talking about Texas Tech this, Texas Tech that. They're already getting even 27 recruits. Big, I think they've got a 5-star guy already. So I mean, they're still making noise, but yeah, I mean, they're still making noise. You got to win games, so it's
Mm-hmm.
a big year for Texas Tech.
Yeah, no, yeah, like we said, it's about navigating that schedule.
Yeah.
Like I said, those
I mean,
again,
it's not the most terrible schedule, but I mean,
No, but those road games, that stretch,
Tough.
I
Yeah.
tell you, if they can make it to November with only one, maybe two losses, and they might be in
Right.
good shape because that November it eases off a little bit. It does start hard with going to Kansas State on the first, but after
Yeah.
that you get BYU and UCF at home, and then
Mhm.
you travel to West Virginia in the season, and they should be have a little bit down this year. Their cupboard's kind of bare. Now, granted, who knows? Maybe Rich Rod will have them humming along by the time you get to that point in the season. But that first stretch there where they go at Houston, or excuse me, at Utah, by at Houston, Kansas, at Arizona State, Oklahoma State. That's you should win your two home games in that stretch.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
But you got to win if you want to compete in the league. You have to win two of those
You
three
have to.
road games, and
Yeah.
that's tricky because Houston even Willie Fritz is a good coach. He's got some guys in there now. They might not be a contender yet, but they're not a pushover anymore.
No. And we even saw that at the end of the last season. They started
Mm-hmm.
coming around a little bit at Houston. So, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely a tricky schedule. I mean, anytime you go to Salt Lake City and now Tempe, I mean, that's tough. I mean, Tempe, when they're, especially, I mean, it's usually a pretty good crowd, but when they're winning,
Mm-hmm.
man, it's electric there. So, yeah, it's definitely. But yeah, to and then going to Manhattan, that's always tough. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they definitely didn't get the easiest of road games for the conference. And the end of the year, I mean, Morgantown at the end of the year is always tough. I think. I don't care what
Yeah.
West Virginia.
Yeah, there's a little blurb actually right here in Phil Still's magazine that says it will be the furthest north that Texas Tech has ever spent Thanksgiving weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And that I look at that first Big 12 game too at Utah on September 20th. That is going to be so tough, not because just because of Utah's history and their
Right.
reputation. Yeah, they had a down year last year, but their defense was still pretty solid.
Hmm.
They just could not move the ball and could not score last
No.
year. That's a game Utah is going to want to make a statement in. They got
Oh, absolutely.
this hyped up team, spent all this money. Uh, they're coming back off a disappointing year for themselves. Everyone last year
Right.
thought they were going to come into the Big 12 and just immediately take it over, and they didn't. And so,
Didn't go like they thought.
yeah, it's going to be a really hot contest, I believe there.
Absolutely. Big thing there. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If not a lot of teams when Utah is healthy. Not a lot of teams go into that. It's a small stadium, but that place is crazy.
Yeah, Bryce Eccles gets loud and proud there.
Wow. Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's go back. Let's see, across the state to Baylor. A lot of big expectations this year for the Bears. A lot of people predicting a bounce back year. Of course, they had after that Big 12 championship in 21, they fell off at a 6-7 season, 3-9 a couple years ago. They got back to 8-5
Right.
last year, and really killed it down the stretch. They won their last 6 regular season games before losing to I think LSU in the bowl game. Didn't they? Yeah.
Right.
But Dave Aranda, was on the hot seat coming into last year, got off of it, but probably still wants to have a.
Still kind of.
He's got to make a run at the conference title
Right.
to really cool it off. But I think they're a legit contender. They get 18 starters back.
Yeah. I mean, and the best thing for them too. I mean, that schedule to start is tough.
Yeah.
Auburn and SMU, but luckily for that, neither one of those is a conference game. So
Yeah, exactly. And they get Auburn at home on a Friday the 29th to start the season. That'll be
that'd be interesting.
Yeah. And then they have to travel to Dallas to face SMU. And then they get Samford at home after that, so that should be
Right.
a 2-1 out of that wouldn't be bad, but if you can go 3-0,
Yeah, if you could,
pull that upset in Dallas, and that's big.
that'd be huge.
Yeah, and their Big 12 schedule, their home games, they get Arizona State, Kansas State, UCF, Utah, Houston at home, and then they travel to Oklahoma State, TCU, Cincy, and Arizona. So that's not the
It's not.
toughest road schedule. Um,
They get a lot of the big dogs at home.
yeah, exactly. So that's and they get them. It's kind of early, that
Yeah.
they do get Utah late November, but at Arizona and Houston, your last two games those are very manageable, winnable games.
Right.
And you got your two leading rushers back. You got your quarterback back and Sawyer Robinson. You get a bunch of your receivers, including your two leading receivers, back this year. So it's it's. I think this. I'm kind of buying into the hype with them too. I think they'll.
Yeah.
I think they'll be back. I think they might have been my surprise team last year, or bounce back team. I couldn't remember, but I actually did pull those up last year's predictions the other day. But
Yeah, but I mean, I think they're right. They're right there. I think Dave Aranda wants to turn that curve where they're consistently good. We've seen bits and pieces of them, but
mm-hmm.
nothing consistent. I think this is a perfect year for him to get that consistency.
Yeah, definitely. We'll know a lot about this team after the first 2 weeks. So yeah, I think everybody will be able to see what the Bears are about after they host Auburn and then travel to SMU.
Uh,
All right, up next, let's talk about the Utes, team that needs to bounce back. Like we said, 5-7 last year, really disappointing. Only 2 wins in conference, and that was at Oklahoma State and at UCF. So they didn't even beat. Oh, sorry, they beat Baylor as well. So 3 wins in conference. Started 4-0, in fact, and then just the wheels came off. Lost 7 in a row before winning their season finale in Orlando. No more Cam Rising. That saga's finally over.
Probably the best thing for everybody.
Yeah, and granted, he did great things for that program, of course, but just could not stay healthy. And now they know who the quarterback is. It's going to be
Right.
Devin Dampier.
Transfer.
Yeah, from where'd he come in from?
He came from New Mexico.
That's
And the
right,
interesting
yeah.
thing, I think they brought the offensive coordinator with them too.
Yeah,
So
Beck. Yeah, that's right. This is that team. Yeah, Jason Beck. They brought in a few guys actually. Him and I think a few guys from New Mexico.
Yeah.
So, I fully with Kyle Whittingham. He's been there forever. This would be season 21 for him.
Great coach.
Yeah, well coached team. They're another team again. Counting guys who started at their last school. They bring back 10 starters on offense, 7 on defense. So. This is a team that, like I said, I mentioned with that statement they're going to want to make it against Texas Tech early on. This is a proud team.
Absolutely.
They're going to want to come out and do what everyone thought they would do last year and kind of try to dominate this league and push people around. It remains to be seen if they can accomplish that, but I fully expect them to be back in contention.
Right. You don't expect them to be. Last year was pretty bad for them.
The last time they had a losing season before last year was I just saw it. It was like 2014 or something. So, yeah, 13. Yeah,
that offense was abysmal. That's their biggest thing. Their defense was still legit, but it's hard to keep going for 4 quarters when that offense is that bad.
Yeah, and this is like mostly a transfer. Led offense, so like I said, maybe the experience isn't at Utah, but they got a lot of guys with experience back. So, like I said, I fully expect this team to bounce back. That schedule, it's an interesting schedule. They start at UCLA, so an old Pac-12 foe.
That is interesting.
Yeah. I think they should easily win that, though. Then they get Cal Poly at home, then at Wyoming. So I think they should be 3-0 heading into that Texas Tech game. And as far as their conference schedule goes, it's not terribly. It's pretty favorable if you ask me. Their home games are Texas Tech, Arizona State, Colorado, Cincy, Kansas State, And their conference road games are West Virginia, BYU, Baylor, Kansas.
Hmm.
I think they can absolutely make some noise in this conference this year. They get,
Absolutely.
I think, all the toughest games, maybe outside of Baylor or in Salt Lake City, if they even have to play them at all.
Right.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
expect a big bounce back. I think, me personally, I think if they're not in the Big 12 title game, I'd be kind of a little surprised. But then, like you said, it does depend on it. Is this offense? Can they? All these guys come in and gel, and can they be legit?
Right.
So,
But Kyle Whittingham's the type of coach like he ain't gonna just bring somebody because of a name or
hmm
uh, you know what they've done. Like he's the type of guy that's gonna bring someone that he know that feels the best as he can. That's actually gonna step in and do what he wants done in his program. So, he's not just bringing in people to bring in folks. He's definitely gonna, bring in someone that he feels is gonna fit well into his system. So, I just trust anybody that he brought in to be a starter. He, vetted them well. So, I expect him to very much be a contender for sure.
yeah, it is just kind of shocking their QB situation. Now they got it. They were down, I think, the fifth string quarterback by the time the year
Yeah, it
ended
was
last year. They
just
just
a
had terrible injury luck. Yeah.
terrible luck.
So yeah, I fully expect them to bounce back and be in the
Mhm.
discussion. All right, next let's talk about those Horned Frogs from TCU. Uh, I'll let you go ahead on them. You seem like you're a little big on them this year. So
Yeah, I mean, I like their quarterback. I mean, Josh Hoover's back. He threw for over 4,000 yards last year. So I mean, just they had some disappointing losses last year for them, but I mean, but they started off the season kind of weak and ended up well. And it's just a matter of them just getting back to it. What got them, of course, they got to that national title game in the last seasons have kind of been underwhelming.
hmm
But I think that, they have the offense to be elite this year. Um, and I think that they're going to be very much a contender. And will be an interesting matchup, though, that first game there, that Monday night, of course, going to Chapel Hill to face Belichick. That's interesting.
yeah, that'll definitely be a kind of a it won't tell us everything about them, but it'll be we can learn a lot from that.
Right.
Both teams
And
really
it's
back
kind of
then.
weird though, that they were, the first game with Prime at Colorado, and now the first game
Hmm,
with Bill Belichick. So that's
that's true.
interesting in itself. So
Yeah, but we know
so
Sonny
for
Dykes is a
them,
good coach. Yeah, so
yeah, I
um,
think I think he's a very good offensive coach. If that defense can be, I think that's their biggest thing is how good can the defense be? Because I think that offense is going to be electric. But it's going to come down to the defense and them just winning games. Last year they had like that overtime game against UCF that they lost, and that
hmm
seemed to, I don't know, people kind of forgot about TCU after that loss there.
yeah, they lost to UCF. They lost to Houston. Both of those were at home too. They were really weird losses.
Yeah,
They did kind of bounce back. They won their last three, five of their last six. Um, beat New Mexico in the bowl game. Oddly enough, funny or excuse me, no, beat Louisiana in the New Mexico Bowl. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Um, but yeah, I like their running back they brought in. Kavorian Barnes, transfer from UT San Antonio.
yeah.
You mentioned, yeah, Hoover, a pretty solid quarterback there. Um, they improved last year from you said they dropped off after that title game appearance. They went 5-7 and 23 last year. They went 9-4.
Not terrible, but
No, yeah, not their standard. With
no.
especially with all four of those losses being Big 12 losses. Or excuse me, no, just
Right.
3 of them. One was SMU.
Right.
But yeah, and you mentioned that North Carolina game to start the year. That'll be interesting. Then they get a bye after that, and they come back with Abilene Christian, and then they get SMU at home.
Yeah.
Their
And
conference
the
schedule,
skill.
they got some tough road games. It's their road games in conference are Arizona State, K-State, West Virginia, BYU, Houston, and then their home slate is Colorado, Baylor, Iowa State, Cincy. So they get a lot of the big boys.
On the
They'll
road.
have to earn it last year. I expect their
Yeah.
defense to probably be a little bit better. So yeah, I do think that. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of buying them. I kind of like where they're going. Like we said, Sonny Dykes is a good coach. He'll have them back in the mix toward the end of the
Right.
season. All right, let's see. The last of the face cards, as we're calling them, is Iowa State, 11-3 last year. They made the Big 12 title game. Big loss to Arizona State in it, though. But
That was kind of shocking how badly they actually lost that game. Honestly.
yeah, it was. It was weird. They're not a team that typically gets blown out, really.
No.
But they were another team started hot last year. They were 7-0 before Texas Tech, crazy game in Ames, went in and beat them, and then after that they lost the very next week at Kansas, who was having like a sort of mini renaissance. In the second
Yeah, the
half
end
of
of
last year.
The Kansas with November was crazy up until the Colorado game.
Yeah, but they bounced back, won their last 3, and then made the Big 12 title game. Where they lost, and then they beat Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, that weird one where Cam Ward played the first half but then sat out second. So,
Yeah.
like I said, 11-3 win. I believe last year is actually the most wins in program history. So,
Right, they never had 11-win season.
yeah.
That just
So they're back this year. As we mentioned, they start the year with Farmageddon in Dublin. They come back, play South Dakota at home, and then the Iowa game is in Ames this year.
huge rivalry.
Yeah, huge rivalry. Then they go to at Arkansas State. That's an interesting little one. And then the rest of their Big 12 schedule, you get Arizona, BYU, Arizona State, Kansas at home. And they're on the road at Cincinnati, Colorado, TCU, Oklahoma State. That's not the toughest schedule. There's no
It's not.
Utah on that schedule, no Texas Tech.
They get their. They have their quarterback back, Rocco Beck.
Yeah, Rocco Becht, he's beast. He's a real beast in my in my college football dynasty. He actually transferred to Alabama and won the Heisman or something.
Nice. But he's a beat. Yeah, he's a hell of a quarterback there.
And he's like a perfect Iowa State quarterback too.
Absolutely. And then they're another team that's pretty well coached there. Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
He's had some big wins over his time there. I guess the big thing with him is just seems like he's pulled off some big upsets and then lost some weird ones, but he's I guess had Iowa State at least in contention, or at least winning season since he's been there. He's done compared to what Iowa State has been for most of our lives. This is probably the most consistent. Where you think, man, Iowa State is actually a decent team. You got to take them somewhat serious.
Yeah. Exactly. Matt Campbell, a great coach there, and he.
It's also amazing that they've been able to keep him. Honestly,
Yeah, he has been one of those guys that his name has been in the mix for
they get brought
everything.
up a lot.
Yeah, there was that random time, when Michigan was actually thinking about firing Jim Harbaugh, and Matt Campbell, I believe, was the biggest name out there.
Yeah, it's funny how things change.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Michigan fans are glad they did that, and judging by, it's funny too with all the Michigan stuff. Just a sidebar, real quick, coming out this week, and their punishment. They get the $20 million fine or whatever, but no, nothing stripped, no postseason bans. Which a lot of people got mad at that. I don't mind it. I don't think you should. I agree that you don't punish the kids on the team that had nothing to do with
Right.
it,
And
I've
they've
always
kind
thought
of
you should.
gotten away from that
Yeah.
overall.
It's also weird. Like they're suspending more for what, like 4 games, but only 2 of them are this year. Or, I don't
Two of
know.
them this year, and then he
And it's
gets a
like week
game.
3 and 4. It's not even like the first.
No, because he gets to do the OU game because he played at OU, so they gave
Mm,
him that. So gets him. Then the week three. I mean, he'll miss a Nebraska game, which is a road game in Lincoln. But it's not like won't have the whole week to prepare. It's
yeah.
not like he's gone. So I mean, I don't know. As we saw, I mean, Harbaugh obviously missed half that season. They won a national title. So game day, I don't know how big of a factor that is if you've been there all week to put in everything. So
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? It's whatever. But yeah.
yeah.
So let's get back to all right. So that's it for our face cards.
Mhm.
The rest of them we're just going to call the non-face cards because who knows? You can win a hand with a pair of tens, but you might not. You can win a hand with a pair of fours.
Yeah,
Not likely. Um, but
but
if
it's
you get
out there.
if you get dealt a 3-8, you're in Hold'em, you're folding it right away or whatever.
Right.
But let's start off BYU. Of course, great year last year, 11-2, came out of nowhere. Started the season off what 10 9-0 before
Nine
losing
and
to
zero. Yeah.
Kansas and then Arizona State. So they
Hmm.
didn't quite get into the
Right.
what you would call it, the Big 12
The
title game
playoff.
like they wanted, and then they
Right.
weirdly played Colorado in the bowl game.
Right.
But yeah, Kalani Satake, good coach. He's really built something strong there. The thing for them this year is that Jake Retzlaff is not there. Um,
Right.
he is gone now.
On to
Of course,
Tulane.
there were the accusations, and then he ended up being kicked out of school for violating their honor code.
Because
There,
whether anything bad, illegal happened, yeah, that
yeah,
that honor code at BYU is something.
yeah, it's serious.
Honestly, I don't
It's
know how
serious
they
stuff.
have any. Like I understand, like it's a little different with the Mormon religion, but I mean I know just minimal stuff about it. But just think about college kids. I don't care. That's wild. That honor code is something wild
It is, yeah. You got to figure there's a lot of stuff happening that's
that happens.
hidden, yeah, that they don't
Absolutely.
know. But yeah, they're back this year. We'll see who takes over quarterback for them. Um, Not a lot of starters come back, so they do have a lot to replace. So I do think they'll drop a little bit. But they got the schedule's a lot friendlier
Right. And according
this
to
year.
the Salt Lake Tribune, the true freshman is supposed to be the quarterback,
Ooh, yeah,
Bear Bachmeier,
that's a great name.
19. Hell of a name. Bear Bachmeier is what the Salt Lake Tribune is saying. Um,
Well,
so
he's
we'll
gonna need to
see.
bear down because
Yeah,
that is coming in. They'll have a little probably more expectations than last year, but hopefully they'll
right.
be humble with them because they should drop off like we said, but. Like Kalani, like we said, Sataki's a good coach. He'll have them hyped. The
Yeah,
schedule's a little more favorable this year. Out of conference, is pretty easy. You get Portland State, Stanford at home. You travel to East
yeah,
Carolina. Your Big 12 schedule, you got road games: Colorado, Arizona, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Cincy. Your home games are West Virginia, Utah, TCU, and UCF. So there's a couple of last year's bottom dwellers they play there.
yeah.
Um, So I'm thinking probably around 8 wins is probably a good season for them this year.
Yeah, I would
Um,
probably say that.
yeah, anything above that is just gravy.
And you never know. Like you saw
Yeah.
last year was a wild season, and I mean, if things click, but I think yeah, it's definitely gonna be somewhat tougher for them because it seemed like Magic really. They got a couple of favorable calls,
Hmm.
different different times depending on who you ask.
Hmm.
But
Well, yeah,
yeah,
let's move down to Houston. The Cougars, Willie Fritz, entering his second year, got him to 4-8 last year. Um, we mentioned with a couple of kind of upsets along the way. Upset TCU, upset
yeah,
Kansas State, beat Utah. Um, and we're competitive, in some other big games too. They weren't a pushover. Um,
right.
this year, the big addition is Connor Weigman. Comes over from Texas A&M. So we'll see if he can stay on the field and kind of realize his potential. As he was a kind of a bigger
And can he stay
recruit.
healthy? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's his
he's
big
had
thing.
horrible luck. I mean, was it just 2 years ago he was the starter at A&M?
Yeah, exactly. He just cannot. Yeah, he's just one of these snake bit guys. Um, but regardless, whatever he provides should be an improvement over what they got out of quarterback last year. They were abysmal
Oh yeah.
at quarterback last year. Um, but they got a Zion. Who do they get back? Running the ball is what I'm looking for. They're Rashawn Sanford, that's his name. Good running
Hmm.
back there. I think um, I think he'll improve this year. I think this will be a much improved team this year. I think they can get to a bowl. Um, it'll be tough, that he's still, Fritz is still building that program there,
Right.
getting his, identity there. But we know he's a good coach. Look what he did at Tulane. Houston,
Absolutely.
is in an area with so many good recruits that the big schools are going to get the best ones, but if you can just pull one of them eventually and then get
You
those
can
kind of
pull a
three,
couple.
yeah, build those 3 stars, get a few 4 stars here and there, and uh,
Yes. But
you can.
it really helps. Not only Willie Fritz, but the fact that Houston is in a power conference again.
Hmm.
It's still pretty new for that. And on top of that, I mean, for sure you win the Big 12, you're in the playoff. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
that carries weight in itself. I mean, it was different when when they were in the American and everything, where we saw some good Houston teams. Oh, of course, I used to light up the scoreboard like no other. With they had a run of quarterbacks there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, being that you can actually be a title, probably never going to win a title at Houston, but the fact that you can be in the mix, uh, actually be in the mix is something legit there. So
Yeah, and the schedule, they can handle that. They get what I think 16 starters back total.
mhm.
Um, Easy, the out of conference schedule. Stephen F. Austin, they
Right.
get Rice in their rivalry. They travel to Corvallis for Oregon State, and then their conference schedule, they get Colorado, Tech, Arizona, West Virginia, TCU at home, road games with Baylor, UCF, Arizona State, Oklahoma State. So I think they can make a bowl.
Yeah, I could see them getting to anything above six is would probably gravy this year, but man,
Yeah.
that'd be huge in the second year to get them to a bowl game.
Yeah, and honestly, anything that matches 4 wins and anything above it, even if it's just
Yeah,
5, that's still a win for Fritz in that program, who, kind
because
of been out in the darkness for a while now.
I don't understand how I don't understand how Daniel Holgerson had it in such a bad shape. Honestly,
Yeah, it's almost like he
I
just
don't
kind of
understand.
stopped caring or whatever. But you figured a
Yeah,
guy
I don't
like
know what
that
was
with his
going on
offensive
there, but
resume, yeah, and
because they had
and
it
knowing
rolling for a while. I mean, when they had Kevin Sumlin and then they had
Tom Herman,
um, Tom Herman, yeah, they had it rolling. They put
yeah,
up points like no other. I mean, we know we had the famous Lee Corso back in 2011 when he said, "Oh fuck it,"
oh
whenever they were
yeah,
game day against SMU. I mean, they have some history there. I mean, of course, they were great in the '80s with Andre Ware. They were
hmm
uh, mid 2000s. I mean, we're legit.
oh yeah, Kevin Kolb, Case Keenum, they had some guys
Yeah,
that came through there.
yeah, they put up numbers, pulled off a lot of upsets. I mean, they had that siren going.
Hmm.
And I think Willie Fritz could get them back to that level. And they're a team, they're one of the programs. If they're winning, the people will show up.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
so
yeah,
I,
you're in a football loving state in a great
oh,
area.
absolutely,
Like I said, there,
absolutely,
and it's fitting that Willie Fritz took the job because it's kind of a similar program to Tulane in that respect, where it's like uh, in a not a huge, no, not like the world's greatest football traditions, and say they're not a powerhouse, but a
right.
proud area and an area full of just a hotbed of
Football
football.
entertainment,
So if you can just get some
absolutely,
momentum, then you're gonna do good. And
right.
yeah,
And he knows how to win in an area that's dominated by another program.
mm-hmm.
He found ways to get people in there despite LSU being the big dogs in the state.
Yeah,
Now he's in Texas, of course. We know that Houston area of Texas, A&M. So he understands, what type of recruits he needs to bring in. Um, and even, you know, he's going to get some guys though. It's just, finding the right ones for you, ones that want to buy into that program. But anytime you could get the guys that maybe feel shunned by Texas A&M, good. But
mm-hmm.
you know, they have played with a chip on their shoulder to say, hey man, we're just as good. I mean that could be dangerous, and I think he's the guy that can get the most out of the talent. And maybe not this year, but I would say in the next 2 3 years, I'd be shocked if Houston is at least in the Big 12 title contention.
No, yeah, I agree. I think, like I said, it's just a matter of him getting that momentum rolling, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden there. I mean, they won 12 games just 4 seasons ago, so it's not
right.
like
So
it
it's
can't be
it's
done.
it's there.
Yeah, they're
He
just
just
still,
has
yeah, they're still adjusting to the Big 12 move,
yeah,
and they just gotta. They'll get there. I think Willie
yeah,
Fritz is the kind of coach where you believe in him.
absolutely. Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's move up to Cincinnati now. The Bearcats 5-7 last year. Scott Satterfield a little underwhelming his first 2 seasons. 3-9 the year before that. Again, this is a team that's just 4 years removed from making the playoff. The first
Non-power.
non-power team and only non-power team to make the 4-team
Yeah.
version of it. Which we will after this preview, by the way, talk about the Big Ten's new dumbest idea ever.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But,
But yeah,
yeah.
Cincinnati. Scott Satterfield's probably his seat's probably pretty warm. He's got to show
Yeah, I
some
mean, 8 and
improvement.
16 in 2 years.
Yeah, it's not great, especially at like we said, a program that was just in a playoff program that had a bunch of winning seasons before he came.
I mean, yeah, I mean, they've had some good coaches come through there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
we've
mean,
seen
yeah,
Brian Kelly. I
it's
mean, we've
kind of been a
seen,
launching pad. Luke Fickle there for so many years.
yeah,
Uh, back in the day, they had damn. I lost it now. I was going to make a joke about Bob Huggins. That was it. It was going to be a basketball joke, but man, I do remember who was that player they had the one year that he got hurt in like the conference tournament.
oh,
And
that was Kenyon Martin.
that's right, it's Kenyon, yeah, because they
They may
were.
have won a title that year.
I bet say that was a good team, and they could have made a Final
That was a
Four at the
great
least.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a great team.
like broke his leg or something, right? Like a bad
Yeah,
injury. Yeah,
in the conference tournament, like the opening game.
yeah, I remember that. But anyway, football. A lot of guys back this year,
Mhm.
especially on defense. They get 8 starters back on defense. They get a lot of their leading offensive weapons back.
Mhm.
Brandon Sorsby, their quarterback, had a solid year last year. Nothing too bad. They bring in Toby Walker from Wisconsin last year, running back. Uh, I do think that, like I said, Scott Satterfield's probably he's got to get to a bowl game this year. He's definitely got to show
I would
improvement,
think
or else
so.
this might be a
I would
short
think so.
experiment. And I think they can. I think there's probably a team that's going to improve this year. A lot of experience. Interesting schedule. They start with a Thursday game in Kansas City versus Nebraska.
Yeah, it's basically gonna be a road game for Cincinnati because
Yeah, I imagine.
Lincoln, Lincoln to Kansas City is only about 3 4 hour trip. So I mean, it's gonna
Okay.
be Husker fans everywhere. But that's a big game for both programs. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously that Thursday night prime time. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of eyes on that game. So
Yeah. Um,
big game for both teams there. So I mean, if Cincinnati, obviously is going to be the underdog going into that one, but if they could pull that over a Big Ten,
ooh,
when people see as a somewhat of a contender in some sense, that that would be huge for the program to start the year.
it absolutely would be, especially because their next two out of conference games to start the season are Bowling Green and Northwestern
Yeah,
State, both at
Bowling Green
home.
and
And then they get a bye. So if you can pull that upset and you go 3-0 into
going
conference
into
play,
going
that's
into
pretty big. Yeah,
Lawrence
and
undefeated there on the 27th. Man, that'd be huge.
yeah, and a schedule that's not that it's not super difficult. You know, their road games in conference are Kansas, Oklahoma State, Utah, TCU, and then home they get Iowa State, UCF, Baylor, Arizona, BYU. So um, it's all there for them to get to about 8 or so wins, or maybe even who knows make a shock run at the Big
Yeah.
12 title. But they definitely should improve this year, and I think anything.
Anything less than a bowl season, I think he's definitely
Oh yeah,
gone.
yeah. I think he's gone. Yeah, I think he's got to
Just
show
because
us improvement there.
I mean, we still think of Cincinnati as a basketball, but I mean, they've had some runs at football that they
Hmm.
3-9 and 5-7, just not acceptable at Cincinnati.
No, yeah, like I said, that's like they made the playoff, and they had the unfortunate luck of drawing Alabama in the playoff, but
Right.
it's a team.
They made it. You can't ever take that away from them, and that was before the expansion. So
Yeah,
impressive in itself.
and they made it. If you go back and look at the scores last year, they kind of beat up on teams. I mean, they went
Yeah.
into South Bend and beat a top 10 Notre Dame team that year.
Yeah.
Um, I think they were even preseason top 10 coming into that year, so they managed
Mhm.
expectations big.
Right. They
But
had
yeah,
big expectations going in and
mhm.
held on. So that was
But what they got to do is they got to stop blowing leads. That was their problem. They lost their last 5 games last year. Um, really had the problem closing out teams.
yeah.
Um, did and the weird wild Big 12, they did beat Arizona State though last year. So um, who
You
knows?
just never know.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's see. How about Kansas, the Jayhawks? Another team, a couple years removed, from a winning season. In 23, dropped back to 5-7 last year. Um, Jalen Daniels is back at quarterback. He's still in school, so that's a dynamic guy under center. Not a lot of starters back though. Um,
Yeah. He's kind of the, I mean, same name and everything. He's kind of Jalen Milrow in a sense because
mm-hmm,
when he's on, he's one of the most electric players in
mm-hmm.
America. But then he makes some of the wildest mistakes, and you're like, "What are you doing, bro?"
Yeah, we mentioned they had that kind of November renaissance last year. They beat Iowa State, beat BYU, and beat Colorado in
Yeah.
3 games, in a row. And it's like those are all ranked teams. They
Yeah.
took Kansas State to the limit in that game.
Mhm.
They closed the season. They got blown out by Baylor, but it's a team that they should.
They
Again,
have,
this is another
they
team
have a
that
good coach. I think Lance Leopold is a good coach.
I do too.
I mean, I think some of it too. They did lose little momentum once their OC left for Penn State. I think that, but it's going to come down to Jalen Daniels not making mistakes.
Hmm.
He he's got to kill the turnover bug
No,
because
for
he can be
sure.
a good quarterback. At times, we've seen him do great things.
Yeah, he's got to improve that
Uh,
ratio. 14 touches to 12 interceptions last year.
yeah, no, that's got
Uh,
to be much better. And especially you're a older dude now. Like you've been in the program for a while. I mean, you have plenty of experience. Yeah, you have to turn that corner.
yeah, I think he's got to turn that corner. He's got to, not make bad decisions. He's got to play like an upperclassman, like he
Yeah,
is with all the miles he has under his feet.
Hmm.
Of course, big thing looking at their schedule. The first thing that jumps out at me: September 6th at Missouri. Thank God. This is one of those rivalries that went away due to realignment, and it's so stupid. It's a great,
That
one of those underrated
that
rivalries.
rivalry's
Hmm.
yeah. A lot of people don't know about that rivalry, but that rivalry is deep. So much hatred.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you
is
love
not
to see.
just a like we're rivals on the football field. That is a we do not
No,
like
in
you as
life,
a yeah yeah. It's like we don't respect yeah exactly. We don't like who you are as a program, as people, as a
like
like
we hate you.
yeah.
Yeah,
What's the line from
it's deep.
the
It's
haters
deep.
ball? I hate you so much. I want all the bad things in
Mhm.
life to happen to you and only you.
Absolutely.
That kind of hatred. They do not like each other, and I'm so glad that we
Yep.
get to see that back. That one is in
Mhm.
Columbia, Missouri, like I said. They're a week zero team too. They get Fresno State to start the year. Um, Big 12 schedules. It's okay. It's not bad. Home against West Virginia, Cincy, Kansas State, Okie State, and Utah. On the road for UCF, Texas Tech, Arizona State, and Iowa State. Um, they can definitely, if they can, regardless. But honestly, if you can say they lose at Missouri, but that's, Fresno
It's a
State,
good game.
Wagner, West Virginia, Cincinnati, if they can get to October at 4-1, they got a really good shot at just taking at least two of those last games
Oh,
in the last couple
absolutely.
months and
And they're
making
one of
it
those
back to a bowl.
teams. I think if they get start feeling confident, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because that's how it went
Yeah.
last year. They won their opening game against, FCS school, but then they lost, what, 5 or 6 in a row? I think 5. And, then they got a big win over Houston, and that kind of, started that little
Yeah.
spark where, the next game they almost beat Kansas State, couldn't quite, but then they won those 3 in a row. So
Yeah.
for a team that looked just so out of it, they still almost made a bowl.
Yeah. So not yeah. So I mean, I think they're the team that's you're just waiting for them to. I mean, was it 2 years ago when they were when college game day almost there for Duke and or did they go to college game day for Duke and Kansas on the football field? So I mean, they were good.
Maybe that would have been 22. They played them in
Was it
Kansas, and
was it
then
22?
might
Okay.
have been 22 because they weren't. Yeah, 21. They went
I'm
two and
trying to. I
two.
know at some point they played Duke, and it was, I think game day was there, and Jalen Daniels was there as well. So I
Hmm.
mean, he's definitely been there. He's had his health issues, but his main thing is, man, he can't turn the ball over. Um,
Yeah, if he corrects that, holds on to it, this they can absolutely get back to a bowl.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, 23 they went to a ball game, won the UNLV there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just we know they can score points.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's just about finishing games, not making dumb mistakes. But yeah, if they can go, what man,
Like I said, just get to 6. If they can just get to 6, if they
yeah,
can get to 4-1 entering October,
mm-hmm.
and then
When the
that first game is at UCS. That's a very winnable game. They can be
I would
five and
say so.
one headed to Lubbock on October 11th, and I think
That
that
would
puts them
be
in a good
huge.
shot.
That'd be
Yeah,
huge. Absolutely.
I mean, granted that after that the schedule gets tricky.
Yeah.
The
Get Tech, get Kansas State after a bye.
yeah.
We don't know who knows what Oklahoma State's going to look like. I mean, obviously they
Hmm.
can't be. They got to be better than what they were last year. Last year was just ridiculous how
Yeah.
bad they were. Um, but then yeah, you go to Tucson in November, and who knows if Arizona's going to be there. Um,
Hmm.
that last two games, at Iowa State and then Utah, doesn't matter where you play Utah. That's always a tough
Yeah.
game.
Especially that time of year.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, I mean, I would say if they're not winning 6 or 7 this year, I'd be disappointed for them because I think it's there for them. And I could see anywhere from 6 to 9, and I would, I'm not surprised with that. I don't know if they get past 9. I think that's kind of their ceiling, but I mean, it wouldn't shock me if we're talking about Kansas in November still. It's at least mathematically in the equation for a Big Ten, excuse me, a Big 12 title game appearance.
Yeah, I think at the least they can be definitely a team that might alter the Big 12 race with an upset
Hmm.
in the final month. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But let's move on a little west to Colorado. Of course, 9-4 last year. Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders lighting it up on offense. They're gone. Uh, Deion Sanders stayed. Of course, a lot of people thought that he might just call it a peace out after his kids left, but he's still there. Um, you know, hopefully, staying healthy. All his tough summer with all the stuff
He's
that
had a
he's come out and
tough,
said.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a tough run of health issues. So main thing, coaching is not easy, and when
No.
you're healthy.
No. Yeah. It turns healthy guys unhealthy. Like.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of stress, a lot of things going on there. I mean, obviously, he is a different guy. I mean, he knows how to deal with pressure and different things like that, like no other. I mean, obviously, from his career as a player, what he's done as a coach.
Hmm.
I mean, he's outspoken. I mean, love him or hate him, man. Prime is that guy to me. I always enjoy him.
Oh yeah,
Um,
big Dion fan. One of my favorite Dion moments ever. He played for the Ravens late in his career,
yeah,
and he wore 37. And people asked him why he wore that number, and he said, "Because I want the guy I'm covering to know how old the guy shutting him down is."
that's something.
And he wasn't prime Dion, of course, on that team, but he
Still, but even the middle of the pack, Dion's still better than a lot of people.
well, yeah, and that, I believe he probably would have shared that defensive backfield with Ed Reed back there. So just having those two guys together, it's
My
great.
goodness.
That was
Yeah.
the Kyle Baller era, though, so that was the problem with
Yeah.
those Ravens teams. But yeah, Colorado, it's nice to see them back in the national picture. They were a team that
Yeah.
always, when we were growing up, they were always kind of in the Big
They
12
were good.
title race. Yeah,
They
a few
just
Big 12
couldn't. They
titles.
just
I've
couldn't get
always loved their
past Nebraska
uniforms.
a
Yeah,
lot of the good years. That was their
yeah,
problem.
yeah. That was their problem. They had to go through Nebraska, and it usually didn't work out well for them.
No,
Um,
because Nebraska was something different in the mid early
But then
'90s.
they'd have a couple of those years. There was that one year they beat the ever loving shit out of Nebraska on that. They used to play what Friday after Thanksgiving, right? Or
Friday after Thanksgiving, it was that
yeah,
2001 game.
yeah.
They
It
still
was
had
like
Nebraska back into the title game, but they beat them like 63-20, and
yeah, it
they
was a. I
just
remember it was a whooping. I think they ran for like 300 yards. It was something crazy. They just had it.
they ran through them.
But yeah, of
Yep,
course it starts. No Shador, but they got two really talented guys. They get
Caden Salter and
yeah,
Julian
Caden
Lewis.
Salter coming over from Liberty, and then Julian Lewis, a big, highly touted 5-star guy who decommitted from USC to come play for
That's huge.
Dion, and yeah, that's huge. So we'll see who starts for them. You would think Salter,
Mhm.
but who knows? Maybe both of them will get solid playing time.
All right.
Of course, like we said, lose Travis
So
Hunter, you lose Webster, lose a lot of those receivers.
you do.
They lose their top four receivers. In fact, Hunter, Wester, Will Shepard, and Jimmy Horn. But they
Mm,
got guys with experience coming back still.
yeah.
The defense returns 8 starters, so that's big. So they might be more of a defensive-led team this year with only 3 starters back on offense.
Right.
But
Yeah. I mean, they will have Warren Sapp on the defensive line coach or something still. So I mean,
yeah,
lot of emotion there. An interesting game to start off. I mean, we had talked about a little last week with the ACC preview there, or a couple weeks with it. I think that was last week. Yeah, the opening game, Georgia Tech coming to town Friday the 29th.
yeah,
And
that's
that's,
a very interesting game.
I mean, it's going to be a night game Friday night. A lot of eyes are going to be on that game
Hmm.
just because it's prime. I mean, in itself. I mean, because either you love him or you want to see him fail. Either way, it's going to be a lot of people watching that game. So,
Hmm.
it's going to be the first time that he's coached a game without Shador Sanders since who knows when.
Yeah, it's
Because
kind of
obviously,
crazy.
he was associated with it as a kid, high school, college, and so this is something new for him. not to have his son involved in the program at all. Or
Yeah, I wonder if that means that they will. Of course, they need improved offensive line play. That's been their Achilles the first 2 years here under
Mhm.
Sanders,
They
and they
brought in a
need.
lot of people.
Yeah, they brought in a lot of guys, and they need it to get a run game going. That's what hurt them.
They
At
had no
times,
running game last
no
year.
running game, and it's funny because people, might think that Shador was like a running quarterback. He wasn't. He's an athletic guy, but he was a pocket passer, man.
He's a pocket passer who ran for his life a lot.
Yeah,
But that just
a
shows you
lot.
how bad. But that just shows you how bad at times the line play was.
Hmm.
Because what? Not only are you letting your starting quarterback get blasted, but it's his son. In addition to that,
Hmm.
so that just lets you know how abysmal that at times that offensive line play was.
I will tell you
'Cause
the two numbers in Dion's 2 years here. 23, they gave up 56 sacks. Last year, 43. That is a lot. That's a
That's
lot
a
over 12
that's
games.
just a sacks.
Yeah.
In
And
addition,
that's
all the
just a
time
sack. Yeah.
hit. Yeah. So it's amazing that after those 2 years that Shador is actually able to get to the NFL because I mean it could have been a lot of injuries because
Hmm.
he
But
took some
yes,
hits.
yeah, we'll see what goes on with those quarterbacks. That's two
Yeah.
exciting, talented guys. Like we said, one a highly touted recruit, and they did really well in recruiting too. So um, they seem to buy into Coach Prime culture there. So we'll see what they can do without Hunter and
Yeah.
Shador and all those
The
guys.
interesting.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. What I was gonna say, the interesting thing there with them is though, he still relies very heavily on that transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do much. He's a little different than a lot of coaches as far as he'll recruit high school guys, but he's not going around the country kissing, you know, kissing babies and meeting families and stuff. Like people come to him more, you know, he's but he's a different, different character of a different person than a lot of coaches in that sense. It's more of they come to see him than he goes to see them. So
Yeah, they added 5 starters, all via transfer on that offensive line. So,
yeah, so
or at least
hopefully
five
you'll get
guys.
much
Yeah. Hmm.
improved play because that at times you're just like, oh my goodness.
And yeah, and they'll need it because it's not a favorable Big 12 schedule. I think it's one of
No,
the
it's
tougher ones. They get at Houston, and then their other conference road games are TCU, Utah, West Virginia, K State, and then their home slate in conference is BYU, Iowa State, Arizona, Arizona State. So they get
they get a lot of everybody
yeah,
each
they get
season.
they get the big boys. Um,
Hmm.
Not a lot of breaks in that schedule. They do have a bye in between Iowa State and Utah, and then a bye in between West Virginia and Arizona State. So,
Hmm.
um, interesting stat here. Could you guess when the last time uh, Colorado won a bowl game is?
Jeez. Last time they won a bowl game? Wow. Trying to think. Yeah, I couldn't.
1998.
98. Wow.
Yeah, that's going back.
Because I was trying to think of the 01 team, but I know they lost to Oregon in the bowl game. Joey Harrington.
Holiday Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, that yeah, Holiday
No, it
Bowl
was
or
the. So no, it was. I believe it was the
Fiesta maybe.
Fiesta. Yeah.
Yeah, Fiesta. Yeah, because they won the Big 12 that year. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because after they beat the hell out of Nebraska, didn't they upset Texas in the title game? Maybe I can't remember.
I think so. And that led Nebraska back into
Yeah, into
the
the
title game,
yeah that
to the national title
that's
game, and they got.
that's the year I love to point at when everyone's like, "Oh, the BCS got it right all the time." Like, one, no, they didn't. Most of the years at BCS, and we've talked about this on here before, but most of the years that BCS got it right, it was obvious choice which two teams were the best. So, uh, but that 2001 year that Nebraska somehow made it back over Miami, over Washington, hell, over Florida State. They all had better resumes than that. Or not, sorry,
Yeah,
not Miami, but over.
they played Miami.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
played
but
Miami and then showed why they were not
no,
worthy.
why they shouldn't have been in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think of course, still eyes will be on Colorado, not as much, without their two big players, but still interesting.
I mean, it's interesting. Anytime you
Yeah,
got Prime as a coach, I mean, you're going to get some eyes on it there.
yeah, for sure.
Um, I just like a lot of these teams. You just don't know.
Hmm.
Because it's hard to say that they're going to be better. You can't really say that they're going to be better than what they were last year.
Hmm.
I mean, last year was impressive. I mean, they were very much alive for a Big 12 title spot.
Oh, I believe they would have made it
Playoff
if they didn't get
contention.
upset by Kansas. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Kansas went on a crazy run.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're two very talented guys, and Shador, Travis, and then I don't know how you rebound from that in the first year.
Hmm.
But if anybody's gonna figure it out, I mean, I would say Prime will get it figured out.
Hmm.
This year, I don't know because it's a tough schedule. I think if they can get back to a bowl game, they've accomplished something pretty good this year.
Yeah, they're if you're looking for Vegas odds, their over under is only 6.5, so
That
that's
kind
not that
of
great.
shows you, but
Yeah,
that also kind of shows you that obviously people believe that they can win some games, but people aren't sure about them as well. And you're kind
hmm,
of in that six range.
yeah, for sure. Let's move to another huge wild card, and who the hell knows what's going to happen? Oklahoma State. Of course, we talked a miserable year last year, 3-9, winless
Mm.
in the Big 12. Just absolutely shocking, as they were one of the favorites to win the conference last year. Had Ollie Gordon, great running back, and just
What
couldn't do.
happened to him last year? I still don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know if it was just the line play or the fact that they couldn't do anything passing the ball, or this team just fell apart, and then so they basically turned over the whole roster this year, bringing in transfers and new starters. So who the hell knows what to expect from Oklahoma State this year? Mike
Yeah.
Gundy took a pay cut, um, so you got to imagine it's bowl or bust for them. If they don't get back to a bowl, he might retire, or who knows,
You would
find a
think
job
so.
somewhere else. Yeah.
I mean, he's been a coach forever now.
His 21st year, I think, coming here. So yeah, he's been that
'Cause
program
he's been
since
the
he
guy
took
since
over for
what?
Les
Since
Miles.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
Um,
I mean, this is the guy last year. I mean, they got wrecked a lot. I mean,
yeah.
last time we saw Oklahoma State on the field, they lost 52-0 to Colorado.
Yeah, and they were just giving up big numbers. Their defense was just got smoked
I mean,
all
they
last
gave
year.
up. I mean, 52 to Colorado, 56 to Texas Tech. I mean, anytime you put up 48 and you lose, that just kind of shows you how bad the
Yeah.
defense is. I
Yeah,
mean,
that was.
gave up 38 to TCU, 42 to Arizona State, 38 to Baylor, 38 to BYU, 38 to West Virginia, who didn't
At
have
home
a great.
in Stillwater. In Stillwater.
Mm.
Yeah.
Kansas State put up 42. Um,
How they beat
yeah.
Arkansas last year, I had no idea.
Arkansas screwed that game up so badly.
Hmm. Two overtime
I,
loss, yeah.
yeah, I don't know how I still don't know how that happened. But yeah, it was a abysmal year last year.
It's
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mike Gundy's had a solid run there.
mhm.
Um,
uh,
but
the
yeah, I
biggest
mean, anytime
biggest
you take a
question.
pay cut like that, obviously it's do or die time.
Yeah, biggest question for me is, so of course they, like I said, they flipped everyone basically. So to bring in new offense coordinator, new defense coordinator, a man named Todd Grantham. Uh, hmm, I don't know if
Fourth and
that's the guy
Grantham,
you want to
huh?
bring in to save your
Fourth
defense.
and Grantham. Mm,
Man, hmm,
mm.
that's interesting. That's interesting. I'll say that.
Did I remember when they were talking about? Remember, there was that rumor that he was coming out and be the defense coordinator at Alabama.
And not a single Alabama fan was happy about it. Mm.
Yeah, third and Grantham was a thing for a while there,
But yeah,
but
it's tough schedule for them too. They go at Oregon
mhm.
second week of the year.
Mm.
Uh, they get road games at Texas Tech, and
Mm.
road schedule isn't overly tough actually outside of that Oregon game, and they got to go to Arizona, to Texas Tech, to Kansas, and then UCF. So, but they do get a lot of the big boys at home. They still have to play Baylor at home. They get Houston, Cincinnati, K State, and then Iowa State. So they play a lot of those heavy hitters in conference.
And
Um,
whenever, I mean, when things are good, Stillwater can be kind of that's a
well, it's
loud
yeah,
place.
Boone
Can be
Pickens, tough place
raucous.
to play. Yeah, so, um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
that's
who knows?
yeah, exactly. They're just that team that's like I have no idea what to expect from them this year. Good, bad,
You
who
could,
knows?
yeah. I mean, that could be anywhere anywhere.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just don't know.
Uh,
I don't think anybody knows. I don't even think Mike Gundy knows really
no, yeah,
what to
um,
expect out of this team.
no, yeah, but
Um,
let's move on to another team who disappointed last year. A team that had high expectations, Arizona. A lot of people were really excited for them to come in to the Big 12, and with Noah Fafita at quarterback, they had what's his face,
the wide receiver.
McMillan, yeah, McMillan at wide receiver. Was
Mhm.
a stud. A lot of hype last year. Only went 4-8. Of course, they did lose their coach. Went to Washington, but
Jed Fish.
yeah, Jed Fish. They get Fafita back this year, so that's huge for them. They get 9 starters back on defense. So this is a team, definitely they're capable of a turnaround, at least getting back to a bowl. Um, they're another one, it's kind of up and down schedule. They start the year with Hawaii at home. Um, they'll play. Sorry, I'm looking at this schedule. The conference games. So they play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 conference games. Is that like a
They
quirk in the
play
schedule?
Case.
They play. That's right. They play K State as a non-conference game this year because it was a previously scheduled game, and then they so.
Right. Because it was like that last year too, I think.
Mm, yeah, it might have been. Yeah, I think so because they scheduled that series.
Which is
Um,
weird.
it is, but as far as their in-conference actually schedule, their road games are Iowa State, Houston, Colorado, Cincy, and Arizona State, and then they're home for Oklahoma State, BYU, Kansas, and Baylor. So they get tough schedule. Um,
Hmm.
but they should have. I think they can turn it around and get to a bowl at least. Um, if Fafita
You would,
plays to his
you
potential, he
would
can
think.
really be a dynamic guy. Um, the thing there will be
'Cause last year
replacing.
was
Yeah.
just super disappointing. Considering, I mean, it was in because I think a lot of people really were hyped about them because both both him and McMillan came back when no
Mm-hmm.
one thought either might transfer after Jeb Fish left.
Mm-hmm.
They both came back, and that was impressive in itself. They, just things just didn't go as planned.
No,
So
yeah. Only 2 wins in conference last year and really fell off. They got 3 of their 4 wins in the first 4 weeks of the season.
you
So,
know they got
yeah.
what Hawaii to start the season.
Yeah.
Got to win that one. Well, interesting. That's on TNT or HBO Max, depending on how you watch games.
Yeah.
What Weaver State, obviously, you got to win that. It's a big game, prime time, at home, the 12th.
Yeah,
K State comes to
Kansas State.
town,
We mentioned it, although the big thing is it doesn't count toward the conference standing, so
but
they
it's
at least
still
got a
they could
safety
pull
net
that.
there. Yeah,
That'd be that'd be huge if they could somehow pull that one off. I mean,
yeah, that's like a momentum builder. If you can get that win, that really gives you confidence. You have a bye week after that before you go to Iowa State. So,
if you
um,
could, yeah, if you had that win and then a bye week before a big road game, I mean
mhm,
that could be and at that point, I mean, Tucson is of course there's always going to be a basketball school just because what they've done,
mhm,
but they get pretty wild at their football games. They get hyped at times.
Yeah, I mean they've had
It's a good atmosphere
they've
if
had
they're
peaks.
winning.
Yeah, they've had peaks in their history. You know that Desert Swarm defense of the mid '90s there. So they've
Dude,
had.
that defense was stupid. It was
Uh-huh.
so good.
Yeah, they
I remember one year, was that 93 or 94, and they played Miami, and that Swarm defense just beat the shit out of Miami.
I think that was '94. I think I remember that. Yeah, I want to say it was '94. Um, but yeah, no, they we'll see.
Yeah, they're a team. Who knows?
Yeah, let's move way far east. West Virginia, of course, a big story there. Rich Rod is back.
Richmond is back.
It'll be his 8th total year there, but of course, first year back since he left so long ago for Michigan. He's come out, had some comments about that this year, how he made a mistake. Uh,
You think?
yeah, that's right. Of course, completely different program than what he left. You know, they're Big 12
Yeah,
now, no more exciting Big East. I'm sure he'll try to install his beloved spread option there. You know, he had it rolling. Hey, really good jobs at Jacksonville State he did there.
he
Um,
did.
you know,
He rebound. He resurrected his career at Jacksonville State because his
he
time
really
at
did.
when Arizona was not
Yeah,
great. He had a
Michigan
little
was, of
scandal
course, a
issue.
disaster, and then yeah, that Arizona
But
tenure. Yeah,
to be fair, that Michigan thing,
yeah,
they
it's
just
different.
didn't. He didn't fit that Michigan man culture. You know,
No,
I think he was doomed. He was doomed to fail there regardless, just because he's didn't fit to their culture. It was a bad fit from the get go. I
yeah,
think.
no, yeah, that was just a mismatch, and then Arizona. I think some people thought that was kind of like, oh, that has potential. That's the type of place where a guy like Rich Rod could star, but it just never really worked out there for him.
No,
Um, and they've been kind of doing that a lot because they had Kevin Sumlin for
they
a
had
bit
Kevin
too.
Sumlin out
Yeah,
there too, and people thought that might be interesting, and it
yeah.
wasn't.
So yeah,
I don't know, but
um,
we'll sure see.
yeah. As far as schedule goes for them, of course, we do got backyard brawl again this year. It's a home game for them. Their other two conference games aren't or non-conference aren't terrible. You know, it's Robert Morris and then at Ohio, so you can really should be 2-0 going into the backyard
I
brawl.
wouldn't. Yeah,
As far as our conference schedule, they have trips to Kansas, BYU, UCF, Houston, Arizona State, and they host Utah, TCU, Colorado, and Texas Tech. So, tough schedule. They get some of the big boys. Um, I think it'd be if they make a bowl, it'd be outstanding for them.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And in year one of the second Rich Rod era, yeah, if you get to a bowl game, that'd be awesome.
but yeah,
It's weird though that the game against Ohio, they're actually going to Ohio.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that is interesting.
Going to Ohio, but yeah, it should still definitely win that. If they could pull off the backyard brawl,
Yeah,
that I
they
mean
won
that'd
it.
just be
They won it 2 years ago when it was in
yeah,
Morgantown. So, uh,
yeah,
but yeah, they can. It's a rebuilding year for sure. While he re-imprints his culture there, but if they can, like I said, I think if they can get to a bowl game, that'd be huge.
right.
So
I
we'll
think the
see.
big thing with that is it's kind of an old school guy, and not everybody fits. I don't know the NIL world of today, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. Yeah, we'll see. Last team here will end with another team getting their a prominent coach back. Scott Frost returns to Orlando and UCF. Of course, he led them to that unbeaten season they had there before going back to his alma mater, Nebraska. Didn't work out for him there.
Yeah.
So he is back with the Knights
Hmm.
because Gus stepped down as head coach to go take over the offense in Tallahassee. Um,
And I don't know what that tells you about the UCF program, or if Gus just want to be a head coach anymore. I don't know what that tells you.
yeah, but this will be, I think, for sure another rebuilding year here. They have where is it 67 new players on the roster between
See,
recruits and transfers coming in.
I was kind of shocked that Gus and KJ didn't work out at all
Yeah,
last
I
year.
thought that was a match made in heaven.
I don't know what happened there, honestly. After it was a game when Colorado went down there and beat the brakes off them, and after
Mm-hmm.
that they died on the season.
Yeah, that was the start of a 5-game losing streak for them, and then they beat the hell out of Arizona randomly, and then lost the last 3 too. So
Yeah, but that doomed their season. It seemed like they got absolutely housed by Colorado there. But
yeah, I'm not expecting a lot out of them this year. Expect just
you know,
Scott Frost to come back, and
because you look at it, I mean,
he's
I could,
another guy. He came out and kind of weirdly talked about how maybe he shouldn't have taken the Nebraska job, or it wasn't the right fit, or something. You know, it was kind of
yeah.
weird for him to say that, but
But I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, I've heard it, and he said it. That he really never wanted to come back to Nebraska. It was kind of they kept on pushing on him, so eventually he gave in
mm,
more so than he wanted to be the guy. Um, but so we'll see how his second tenure goes. Obviously, it's going to be way different there. Now they're part of a big conference. Um, but
yeah, they bring in Alex Grinch for DC, so that's interesting. Of course, he was at Wisconsin last year, but before that had 2 terrible years as USC's defensive coordinator
he was at OU before that with
with Lincoln Riley. Yeah, so
yeah. So he's
not
had some. I don't. Who
yeah.
is that? A guy you want to? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they're hoping that they can score some points, win some shootouts. They get Jacksonville State to start the year. North Carolina A&T. They host North Carolina, so they'll host
That's interesting.
the Fighting Belichick's area. It's an interesting one. As far as their conference schedule goes, they have road games against Kansas State, Cincy, Baylor, Texas Tech, and BYU, and they
Mhm.
host Kansas, West Virginia, Houston, and Oklahoma State. So, another Big 12 schedule. That's a
Yeah, I mean, looking at that schedule,
that's a tough November, especially if Willie Fritz gets Houston, play tough, and then Oklahoma State bounces
Texas
back.
Tech should be good.
Yeah, you got to go at
Going to
Baylor,
Provo
Houston.
at the end
Yeah,
of the year
that's a
might be
tough
cold as
November.
shit.
Yeah, it's a tough November right
That
there.
is a
So
tough November.
they got to get their wins in before November.
Honestly, I mean, after the first 2 games, phew, I don't know where wins are. There's not another game on the schedule where you feel the confident. I don't feel confident for sure that they win.
No, yeah, like you said, and even that, and the Jacksonville State probably should be a win, especially with no Rich Rod, but who knows?
Yeah,
So yeah, there's probably a tough year in for them, but again, it's more
yeah,
about reinstilling Scott Frost's culture there
yeah. Bringing back his culture that won.
more than anything. Yeah,
Yeah, but past 3, 4, yeah, it's going to be a long season in Orlando. I
yeah,
think
yeah. But yeah, any other thoughts on the Big 12?
should be entertaining as always.
Always,
That
yeah,
I think that's one of
yeah.
our
It's my favorite conference.
favorite
Yeah, exactly.
conferences outside of the SEC for me, as far as just what you get every week. I mean, you're guaranteed to see some crazy every week. You're
Mm.
guaranteed to see a upset every week. I mean, it's like clockwork.
Yeah, the Big 12 is absolutely one of those conferences where if I'm just watching, there's a bunch of games and there's not an Alabama or just like a huge game on. If there's a Big
Yeah,
12 game on, I'm going to keep it on that, and just
and
as
they've
long as
kind of
it's,
taken over
especially if
that.
it's fourth quarter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they've kind of taken over that the old Pac-12 After Dark is kind of turning the Big 12 After Dark with those
Yeah.
kind of the West Coast presence there. So you get some very entertaining gameplay tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun conference. But yeah, we mentioned some news this week in college football. Of course, we talked about the Michigan the verdict being handed down. That's whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, I
Uh,
would probably say the only thing I don't like about the whole judgment thing is when the integrity of the game, whether in some way was in question, whether true, false, somewhere in the middle, gets taken less seriously than players getting paid. That's the only thing that really annoys me in the whole situation. We've seen
yeah.
we've seen programs get bowl ineligible for paying players,
Hmm.
or people selling stuff, getting multi-game in season while they're still at the school, bowl bans, all types of stuff for players getting paid. And this has to do more with the integrity of the game in some sense. So that's the only thing that really bothers me about that whole situation.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the message it sends is pretty bad because it's basically people like, oh man, we can do stuff like
Fire
this
away
and
out of
win a
anything.
national title, and then yeah, we just pay a $20 million fine. We got that. I mean,
And I mean, it's a lot. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of money, but I mean, they just paid $10
but
million
for
dollars to a quarterback in itself.
yeah, well, for the school with
So
a what is it like $150 billion endowment or six? I don't
yeah,
even know.
so
It's something
it's
huge.
plenty of money. It's
The
plenty of
money's
money
there. Yeah,
going in Ann Arbor. There, of course, the Barstool guy, big money. So I mean,
yeah,
lots of money there. So I mean, that's just overall, that's just another day for them. I mean, the no the whole show clause thing. Of course, Harbaugh's never coming back to college, so that's not a thing.
no, yeah,
Um, no one's gonna ever touch Connor Stallions at the college level. Still a crazy story in itself. The
yeah.
fact he's on the
That's
Central Michigan sideline is still hilarious to me. But
weird. Just a weird thing all around. But the
yeah,
other big thing out of the Big Ten this week are some stories that came out just within the last day or two where the Big 12 has been kind of throwing ideas out there for a 24 or 28 team playoff
Mm,
and they're stuck on their damn automatic qualifier
yeah,
thing. So it would see in one proposal I saw they would have 7 automatic teams from the Big Ten, 7 from the SEC, 5 each from the Big 12 and ACC, and then your 4 other spots for at larges and group of 5 winner.
that's
That
crazy.
is the stupidest
We're
fucking
gonna have
idea I've
six and
ever
six
heard.
teams in the playoffs eventually,
Last
if they
year,
ever to go
the 7th place team in the Big Ten was 8-5 Michigan, so they would have
there.
been 7-5 at the time of that.
Yeah.
You telling me you actually think that they deserve a shot at a national title? Tony Petiti, the new Big Ten
Like what?
commissioner,
Like
she has
I,
lost his mind, man.
like what was his even rationale for even saying it? I mean, what? It's one thing if you said it in a room
Hmm.
by yourselves, but you went on in front of everybody and said it. And I was listening to something today, and they're like, "Well, maybe he said something crazy, so eventually people think his 16 team with 4 automatics doesn't sound so bad, and people might be like, well, we'll go with that, so we'll shut him up because we're
Yeah,
not."
I,
I don't know if that's his overall goal. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. Other than that, come on, man, don't
well,
ruin college football.
I mean, this is exactly what you get when you have a TV exec run a sports league, and I made
Yeah.
a post on our social account that said,
Mm-hmm.
next time he has a press conference, I desperately want a reporter to ask him why he took a job as Big Ten commissioner when he so obviously hates college football, because that
Oh,
is
yeah.
terrible. If you
Yeah.
you
Even
cannot
say
yeah,
it.
you cannot talk
Even
about
say it.
expanding the playoff anymore without giving every conference winner
Yeah. An
a
opportunity.
bid. And I know that people hate that. Oh, the Sun Belt winner doesn't deserve to be in the same league, but they do.
Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let us see. Who cares if it
I mean,
takes 20 years for one of those Sun Belt or Mac guy to
even
upset?
to win a game.
Yeah, we do it every March in basketball. Why can't we do it in football? At
Yeah.
this point, if you're going to do something like this, just break away and form your own 30, 40,
Yeah.
50, whatever team league.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
it defeats the purpose. I mean, honestly, I still think 12 is too many. Honestly, if we're going to be down to it,
No, yeah, I do. I don't.
I
Yeah,
thought the magic number should have been 8.
yeah, 8 and just. T- You
because
know,
you get your four qualifiers, and then you get four at large. You know, your four
and I,
conferences, and then
you know,
you get four
honestly,
at large.
I wouldn't even do that if we're being honest. If we had 18 playoff, my thing is too. Whenever we again, this is stuff we talked about here before. If for all the BCS we should go back to that. No, we shouldn't. It was terrible. It was terrible, terrible. However, if we were to bring back the BCS rankings and use them to seed this playoff, or at the very least assist the committee, so where they can look at, well, we put this team in because they were 3 spots ahead of Team B, so in the rankings. So,
Right.
yeah, I would say just straight up do 1 through 8. I don't even need qualifiers then, but.
Yeah.
That is the stupidest, dumbest fucking idea in the world. And, I know some people point to FCS and they have a 2014 playoff. Well, yeah, but all 10 conference champions get a bid.
Right.
And so, yeah, at least everybody gets a shot,
But the thing with that too is they've been doing that forever. They had that down to a science. With all the big personalities and all the big people that think they're better than this, you ever think that they're gonna figure out a thing for 28, 24, 28 with in
No,
Division One?
yeah, because
Absolutely not.
the bowls will
We
want to
can't even
host all the games, and
right.
that'd be terrible for
We can't
fans that have
even
to play
barely
all
get
in.
to. I mean, we got to 12 and they're already trying to move to 16 before we even see if 12 is even a
Yeah,
12 is.
if we like it,
Because I
yeah.
think 12 is very sustainable. I mean, you look at it. I mean, last year's was pretty cool that we had a 12-team playoff, and
Mm-hmm.
they're already talking about, well, let's move it to 16. But yeah, they fixed the issue that everybody was griping about, the seeding thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They fixed that. So let's see what 12 even becomes before we even think about 16. Anything past 16, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And as much as look, I disagree a lot with what Greg Sankey says and does. At the very least, we can give them props for backing off of that automatic
Hmm.
qualifier model and going to the 5-11 model. That they
Yeah.
support for expansion. I'm with you. I
Hmm.
think 12's fine. I don't think there are ever 12 teams that logistically or national title contenders, but
No.
I I've always been a proponent of playoffs. Back in
Hmm.
uh, our Dateline Alabama days, I think I wrote. I used to write a mock playoff every year that was 16
Yeah.
teams, but it had at the time there were 11 conferences.
Everybody.
It had all the
Mhm.
conference champs and 5 at larges, and that gets you plenty. Um, my whole thing is if college athletics are supposed to be. I know we're not going to talk about amateur, but they're supposed to at least be laid out to where look, if you win your conference, you get a shot. That's the
That's
deal,
that's
and
a
it,
that's a love. That's the joy of college athletics.
exactly. And with all these automatic, 4 bids for this league and that league, people are like, oh well, look at something like the Champions League over. You know what? The Champions League still has qualifiers for every nation champion in Europe. So even
Absolutely.
the champion of the lowly, Liechtenstein league or whatever, they still play a qualifying match early on, and that so they
Hmm.
technically, theoretically, could run the table, and it's not it doesn't happen, but
It could.
that's all I'm saying. If we're going to expand the playoffs, let those guys,
Let
why
there be
not?
the possibility,
Exactly,
at
because
least on
eventually,
paper, that
yeah,
they could do it. It's probably
eventually,
never going to happen.
yeah. But eventually, 20, 30 years down the road, you'll get a spicy Sunbelt champion or whatever that will come in and pull that upset, and it will be one of the most memorable games in the history of football. But
I mean,
and
people are
you know
still
what?
talking about Arizona State taking Texas to the wire last year.
Exactly. Or I mean, how we 20 years later, we still talk about Boise State beating Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl.
Absolutely.
You know?
We still talk about Utah beating Alabama. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
we
And
still talk about any of that. I mean, Louisville beating Florida in the Sugar Bowl. I mean, we've seen it plenty of times where supposedly non-power team,
mhm,
whether the big dog wanted to be there or not. I mean, we've heard that argument. Whether that's true or not, who cares? The little guys came in and
it's a
beat
big
the
win.
beat
Yeah,
the
we
dogs.
still people still gripe about UCS unbeaten season in 17 and not getting a shot at that. And you know what? I agree. Like it's I think they obviously I don't think they're beating an Alabama or Georgia that year, but they beat Auburn in the bowl game, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing with them is, of course, Auburn is the reason why they even get since they beat it. Since Auburn beat Georgia and Alabama in the regular season,
Yeah,
that's where UCF gets
trying to claim a national title on that.
got
But
all their hype
uh,
from. But
and the other thing with that is, how many people do you see bitching about the playoff ruining the best regular season in sports? Oh, we used to have a playoff. It was called the regular season. If you lost 2 games, you were eliminated. Hell, sometimes if you lost one, that was all. If you make every conference champion get a bid, then that makes it important to win your conference again. Because right now it's
absolutely,
nice to win it, but it
but you don't have to.
ultimately, I mean, we look at all the conferences last year. I mean, what, 3 SEC teams got in, so there were 2 that didn't win their conference. A bunch of Ohio State didn't win the Big Ten, and they ended up winning the national title.
Right.
ACC got both of the people that just played in their conference title game in.
Right.
Yeah. So
So basically, what they're saying, how it's set up now is, I mean, you get basically 2 losses in the Big Ten of the SEC. No matter what, you're guaranteed a spot.
yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. And again, like I say, for Greg Sankey and all that crap that he played, at the very least, the 7th-place SEC team last year was 10-3 Missouri.
Right.
So for all the trash talk that like Kirk Signetti and all these guys want to do about SEC going to 9 games,
And I
yeah,
get
look,
it. I mean, of course you're gonna
I mean, I
because the
agree they should, but
SEC's
yeah,
been the big dog, and of course, but if you think about it, I mean, as fans, we want to see it. But what does the SEC gain from going to a ninth game? Not a damn thing.
no, other than I guess
I mean, more
probably
money.
better, yeah, ticket revenue because
I mean, of course, but at the same time, that adds another loss to half the league.
and that's exactly why the SEC doesn't want to do it. That's what they're
But I'm
saying. And
saying, but the Big Ten
yeah,
chose to go to 9 games. No one said, "Hey, you have to go to 9 games."
yeah.
Them and back in the day, the Pac-12 went to the 9 games for what reason? Just because they thought they could get people to follow that model.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC is like, well, why would we do that? That's
Well, yeah,
retarded.
and the Big 12 did it when they only had 10 teams, so that was a perfect round robin schedule. Like
Yeah,
didn't
so
they
that was
still
interesting
played a
itself.
conference
But
title game? They didn't need to, but they still did.
right,
Like
but the Big Ten like did that for no reason. They went to 9 games just because they felt like that they, oh, look at us, we play 9 games.
oh
Who
yeah,
cares?
well yeah, because it's such a bullshit thing. And look, every prop to Ohio State, Michigan. The Big Ten has won the last 2 national titles. They got a big favorite with Penn State again this year,
Yeah,
and Ohio State and Oregon again now. But let's not pretend that once you get out of that top tier, the Big Ten, that the bottom half or bottom tier is anything like the bottom
pretty
tier at the
pretty
SEC.
mediocre.
Hell, I would take the bottom teams in the Big 12 over the bottom tiers teams of the Big 10 right now.
Yes.
Um,
Because I guarantee, I'll say this: Indiana was a great story last year. I was all for it. I had nothing wrong, nothing against them making the playoff. They're not doing that in the SEC. I'm
no,
sorry, they're not.
they're not. And then you looked at, again, yeah, I'm with you. Great story. Awesome. Hope they, can keep it going for them. But the
Yeah,
2 big real teams they played last year weren't
housed
close.
them.
Wasn't close.
Yeah. After
So,
that first drive, Ohio State housed them,
yeah, I
and
just
Notre Dame. That
dominated.
game should. I was expecting a much better game. I thought, man, it's in Indiana. It's gonna be hype. This is the
Yeah.
Hoosier type moment. They're gonna. They came out flat.
Yeah, no,
There was no energy.
they were not ready for the
They
moment.
were not ready at all.
I just wanted to, yeah,
Yeah,
mention how dumb I thought that idea was and how that man
absolutely.
needs to
It's
shut up.
horrible. Just don't even say it. Like that's just something that should never have gotten out to the national media. What are you
No,
doing?
yeah. But thank you to those reporters or whatever inside guy leaked that so they could. I don't know if that was one of those, hey, why don't we quietly leak this and see the reaction to it? Well, you're seeing it and everybody hates it.
Nobody.
Elsewhere in
Just leave stuff
sports,
alone.
yeah, leave it alone. Elsewhere in sports, the Braves finally started winning. 3 months too late. Uh, 5-game winning streak. I think they've won all but one series this month.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, yeah, Cal Raleigh's still hitting home runs.
Did
Your Yanks still falling
trash.
apart. Yeah.
I mean, they beat the Cardinals, but that's not saying a whole lot. But yeah, things just aren't what they need to be. The Brewers did lose today, but before that, they were on a 14-game
Yeah.
heater.
Yeah. Biggest winning streak in team history there. So they're really hot right
They had some
now.
crazy wins. Like last night, they were down 8-1. Came
Came
back and
back and
beat
won it. Yeah.
on
Um,
Friday.
but yeah, as we get closer and closer to September and those pennant races really heating up. Let's see what other news is here. Alabama looks like Jam Miller is going to be out for
Yeah,
at least the opener. We'll talk more about that next week. We'll do our
yeah.
Alabama and SEC preview next week.
Dude, I fell asleep and then I woke up to someone on YouTube talking about it. First, I was like, dude, is this? There's so many fake stories out there, and
I
people
know
just say anything these days. I'm just like, I was like, I don't know,
it's
but it
crazy.
sounds like it's just some upper thing, possibly a broken collarbone or something like that.
Hmm.
I would say let's get him healthy and bring him back for the Georgia game. I don't think he's needed before then necessarily, but
No, yeah. Let's see what
I
the
mean,
other
I think we
other
have a
guys
lot,
can
lot
give
of
us.
talent there
Yeah.
at the running back position. But yeah, we'll talk about that more. I just feel like it sucks for him because anytime any college athlete, I mean, you practice all summer,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, spring, summer, you're getting ready, you're almost there, and 2 weeks before your season starts, and you don't even get to play in the first game at least.
Yeah, it's terrible. And
That
some of the
sucks,
reports and the shots of him at practice this year looked really
dude.
good. So
He's huge.
huge. He is muscled up top. Yeah. So
My goodness, he went. I mean, he was pretty built before, but yeah, he's like, dude. Like I was like, man, who wants to tackle him?
yeah.
But
But yeah. Anything else in the world of sports you want to touch on before we go here?
no, I think we covered a lot, talked a lot about the Big 12 there. And this is the last weekend without college football for the rest of the year.
That's right. Week 0 next week. As we mentioned, we get Farmageddon. Um, so we'll be back next week. We will have our Alabama and SEC preview. We will post. I will actually make a post for our predictions this year. We won't do a show to them. We'll make a post on the site. Greg will get me them sometime this week whenever we get them. So look out for that. Again, I restarted the college pick'em group, taking on sports. There's that we do it against the spread this year. You can win yourself some taking on sports or Alabama Take swag, whatever you want. Of course, there's the Alabama Take group as well, the old one with the confidence points and all that weird crap. We will be doing our betting column again this year. So look for that Fridays before football weekends. That'll start with week 1. We're not going to do week 0 games. Let's see. I think that's all the news that I have. Of course, you can catch Greg still over at Bama Hammer. Other than that, yeah, check out. Thanks for listening. As always, folks, subscribe, rate, like us, tell your friends, tell your rich friends about us. If your business want to sponsor us, holler at us. Follow us on all the socials. Like I said, I will be posting our predictions at some point this week. I'll make a post on the alabamatake.com where you can find the whole family of Alabama Take podcast. Taking it down return this past week. Of course, they were talking about actually some football. They watched a couple episodes of the SEC docuseries on Netflix. They also talked a lot about the return of King of the Hill, which I plowed through. Me and my wife watched that.
Dude, I ran through that so fast.
Yeah,
I
it
thought,
took us 2 or 3 nights of getting through
Still
that.
pretty. It's still holds weight. It's still a good show.
It was still, yeah, the way they handled the return, there were a couple beats that were really funny. Having Dale become mayor during the pandemic, I thought was hilarious. I
Hilarious.
laughed hard at that. Bobby being a
Yeah,
chef is perfect. Um,
yeah.
it does throw me a little to hear some of the different voices. Of course, we mentioned Dale, Johnny Hardwick, the guy who voiced him, passed away.
Hmm.
And we also have a different voice for John Redcorn. That voice actor, of course, passed away. Really tragic story there.
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, I thought that was fun. So they're back talking all your TV needs. As they say, there's so much crap on TV and streaming now, so they help you figure out what to watch.
I mean, it is so much.
Man,
The
it's
bad thing is, it's so much that you'll probably miss 20 good series and never know about them
there.
because they don't get like a bunch of hype.
My wife
Or
and
it's not something
we just
that you're
started
interested in.
Breaking Bad a couple weeks ago. Neither of us had ever watched it back when it was on its original run, and I know some people are like, "Well, you've never seen Breaking Bad?" I'm like, "Do you know how much TV there is now, man? How much good TV
Yeah,
there is?" And I got a 2-year-old, man. I ain't got time to be watching all the great
yeah,
TV there is. You gotta pick and choose here, man.
yeah. You do have to pick and choose. But the good thing when you do go back to a series like that, man, if you haven't watched it or anything, I
Hmm.
mean, with it being done, you could just run through it. You don't have to wait for weeks. And
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, we'll get out of here. Um, sorry, typing a message out here. But yeah, we're about to get out of here. As I said, check out AlabamaTake.com as always. Holler at us on socials. Join the College Pick'em group. Keep your eye out this week for our predictions. If you don't remember last year for the power conferences, we gave you a winner, a surprise team, disappointing team. We picked winners for all the group of 5, and then we'll give you a Heisman prediction and a college football playoff prediction as well. But, Greg, buddy, I'll see you next week.
yes, sir.